Religious pluralism is a set of religious worldviews that hold that one's religion is not the sole and exclusive source of truth, and thus recognizes that some level of truth and value exists in other religions. As such, religious pluralism goes beyond religious tolerance, which is the condition of peaceful existence between adherents of different religions or religious denominations. Within the Jewish community there lies a common history, a shared language of prayer, a shared Bible and a shared set of rabbinic literature, thus allowing for Jews of significantly different worldviews to share some common values and goals. Classical Jewish views. General classical views on other religions. Traditionally, Jews believe that God chose the Jewish people to be in a unique covenant with God, described by the Torah itself, with particular obligations and responsibilities elucidated in the oral Torah. Sometimes this choice is seen as charging the Jewish people with a specific mission, to be a light unto the nations. Practice tikkun olam, and to exemplify the covenant with God as described in the Torah. This view, however, did not preclude a belief that God has a relationship with other peoples. Rather, Judaism held that God had entered into a covenant with all humankind, and that Jews and non-Jews alike have a relationship with God, each nation with its own unique relationship with God. Biblical references as well as rabbinic literature support this view. Moses refers to the God of the spirits of all flesh, and the Tanakh also identifies prophets outside the community of Israel. Based on these statements, some rabbis theorize that, in the words of Nebanel ibn Fayumi, a Yemenite Jewish theologian of the 12th century, God permitted to every people something he forbade to others, and God sends a prophet to every people according to their own language. The Mishnah states that humanity was produced from one man, Adam, to show God's greatness. When a man mints a coin in a press, each coin is identical. But when the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He, creates people in the form of Adam, not one is similar to any other. The Mishnah continues and states that anyone who kills or saves a single human life, Jewish or not Jewish, has done the same to an entire world. The Tosefta, a collection of important post-Talmudist discourses, also states, righteous people of all nations have a share in the world to come. A traditional Jewish view is that rather than being obligated to obey the whole 613 mitzvot that the Jews are obligated to, the other nation adhere to a common list of commandments under 7 categories that God required of the children of Noah, Noahide laws. According to the Talmud, the 7 Noahide laws are: Shishat Damim, to refrain from bloodshed and murder; Dinam, to establish laws and courts of justice; Avodah Zarah, to refrain from idolatry; Birkat Hashem, to refrain from blasphemy; Gilui Arayot, to refrain from sexual immorality; Gezel, to refrain from theft; and Evamin Hai, to refrain from eating a limb torn from a still living animal. Any person who lives according to these laws is known as the righteous among the Gentiles. Maimonides states that this refers to those who have acquired knowledge of God and act in accordance with the Noahide laws. In the 2nd century, a sage in the Tosefta declared, the righteous of all nations have a share in the world to come. Prophets of the Bible, while they repeatedly denounced the evils of the idolatrous nations, they never called the nations to account for their idolatrous beliefs, but only for their evil actions. The Jerusalem Talmud, Tractate Peah, states, it is written, justice and abundant righteousness he does not withhold. From here we see, God does not hold back from a non-Jew who does mitzvot. Classical views on Christianity. Some rabbis in the Talmud view Christianity as a form of idolatry, and therefore prohibited not only to Jews, but to Gentiles as well. Rabbis with these views did not claim that it was idolatry in the same sense as pagan idolatry in biblical times, but that it relied on idolatrous forms of worship. Other rabbis disagreed, and do not hold it to be idolatry for Gentiles. The dispute continues to this day. Maimonides, one of Judaism's most important theologians and legal experts, explained in detail why Jesus was wrong to create Christianity and why Muhammad was wrong to create Islam. He laments the pains Jews have suffered in persecution from followers of these new faiths as they attempted to supplant Judaism. However, Maimonides then goes on to say that both faiths can be considered a positive part of God's plan to redeem the world. Jesus was instrumental, or was an instrument, in changing the Torah and causing the world to err and serve another beside God. But it is beyond the human mind to fathom the designs of our Creator, for our ways are not God's ways, neither are our thoughts His. All these matters relating to Jesus of Nazareth, and the Ishmaelite, i.e., Muhammad, who came after him, only served to clear the way for the Jewish Messiah to prepare the whole world to worship God with one accord. As it is written, "For then will I turn to the peoples a pure language, that they all call upon the name of the Lord to serve Him with one consent." Thus the Jewish hope, and the Torah, and the commandments have become familiar topics of conversation among those even on far isles, and among many people, uncircumcised of flesh and heart. The above paragraph was often censored from many printed versions where Christian censorship was felt.